and hello. So this is ANDRO DUNOS 2, as you can see on the screen there, for the Dreamcast. So I'm capturing this in 480p from the Dreamcast using a retro gaming cable's Dreamcast cable. I'll put a link to that in case you're interested, so you can have a look at what it is. But I believe it converts the VGA output of the Dreamcast into 480p, and I'm capturing it. That's going into a RetroTink 5X, and then it's going to my Ava Media 2 Plus USB capture device. So this is a game which came out a month or two ago. It's originally made by a Japanese developer called Pickering Soft, who's just a small indie developer. I'm not too familiar with them, but they've got a bunch of other games that you could look up online. So this was ported by someone who goes by the name of Josh Prod, who I believe is based in France, and it's been published by Pixel Heart, which I think is also a French publisher. And so it wasn't originally made for the Dreamcast. It was originally out on Steam. There is a Switch port and a 3DS port. There may be ports for other consoles as well. This is a game I've been looking forward to a lot because it's exactly the kind of game that I like. So we're just going to run through it and I'll just have a go. I'm not an expert, I've only had about 5 goes on it so far. So it's not going to be a pro gameplay video or anything like that. I'll just give a few comments on it. I'm mainly uploading this because I don't believe anyone's uploaded any good quality Dreamcast gameplay of it yet. So I noticed it wasn't on there yet, so I thought I'd just add it onto my channel. So let's go into the game. Now before I start, there is a bit of a load time for this game. When you first turn the Dreamcast on and you start it up, you get a Josh Prod logo on the screen for about 1.5 minutes. And this is normal. I've heard other people saying the same thing. A bit strange, but I mean, after that 1.5 minutes, there's no other long loading time, so you do get the odd bit of loading between levels and between option menus and stuff like that, but it's nothing that spoils the game. So let's just go into a few of the options first, just show you what there is. So this is the entire options that you have for the game. You've got 3 difficulty settings: Journey, Arcade, Android. Arcade is the default setting. You've got a credit selection here. 5 is the default setting. I believe it can go up to 9. Yeah. So control wise, it's a very simple game. You've only got 2 buttons. You get a good choice. You get up to 9 different button configurations. That's all of them there, but it's only 2 buttons, so it's not really a big deal. I just leave it on the default one, which is A for shot and B for hyper shot, which is your kind of bomb type thing. I'll explain a bit more about that later. And the only other controls in the game are to cycle through your 4 different types of main shot, and you get 2 choices for that. I'll just leave it on reverse as the default. So I'll come out of the options now. So there's a bit of loading time there between the option screen. So you also get ranking. So this is the high scores, and it does save high scores to the VMU. That's all it uses the VMU for, though. It does not show any game information or anything on the VMU while you're playing. You just get a dinky little picture of your spaceship on the VMU, and that's it. Just stays like that the whole time. So there you can see I've got 2 RIC, that's my initials there. You've got 3 rather top scores there. Now one thing I will say about this game is it does not reset your score when you continue, which is a bit strange. So you could set it to 9 continues and not do very well in the game, and you could still get to the top of the leaderboard. It was a bit of a strange choice there. I would have thought, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it normal for high scores to be reset when you continue? But anyway, that's another little foible of the game. So let's go into the game. Not really much else to show. Maybe I'll just let the intro cycle through once, just so you can have a look at the little animation that comes up when the game's not doing anything. Okay, it's not going to come up now, is it? Because I've gone to the main title options screen. Don't think it's going to play the demo now. So let's go into the game. So you get this little tutorial. It's very simple because there's only 2 fire buttons anyway. There's not really much to show here. Just gives you an example of the main shot. Shows you how to see on the top left there, it's rotating between the weapons on the top left of the screen there. You get that little bar at the top. Now the M and the U. The M is your secondary weapon, which is fixed depending on what type of main gun you've chosen. You can see the rockets coming out of the ship at the moment there. That's your secondary. They just fire automatically just with your main shot. And you've got U, which is these little option pods. I'll show you those while the game's playing. So you use your L and R buttons to cycle between your shots. This is your main forward firing shot with the most power going directly forward. This is your spread shot. As you can see there, spread shot comes with green lasers coming out the top and the bottom of your ship. This is the most powerful forward firing, so it doesn't fire as quickly. You get these green bolts which are very intense and powerful, but they don't fire particularly quickly, which is the payoff. And you've also got this reverse shot, the yellow one here, which is on, it's on that now, where you get front firing and back firing. So I'm just going to put it back onto the blue forward firing at the moment. Now these little blue capsules, the blue circle capsules that float around, you get a lot of those, and you can see on the bottom left there's a bar which shows how many of the blue capsules you've collected. Now I believe that you can use them for upgrades in between stages depending on how many of those you get, and they are a points bonus as well. So you see it's got multi-directional scrolling. We're now in an upward scrolling area of the game. S is a level up for whichever weapon you happen to be on. So you can see my main shot there, my main blue shot is now intensified. I've got more of those little blue dots firing out now. It's got some nice chip tunes. The music's good. It's not amazing, but it's good. It's nice, consistent, does the trick, and it's you know, it's in that nice kind of chip tune style. This is boss of stage 1. The bosses in this game are pretty cool. There's lots of variation. They've got various stages they go through as you do more damage to them. Various patterns of firing. Now I'm going to release my bomb now. So in your bomb style depends on what your main weapon is. So the bomb for this straight ahead shot is this. You get these intense huge blue bolts coming out. Now after you've used your bomb, it takes a while for it to recharge. And during that period of recharging, it knocks your main weapon back down to level 1. So if you see on the top left there at the moment, my main shot is on level 3. if I cycle through them, I can't cycle through them right now because we're just doing this. So it's giving me a bonus for those blue pods there. I now get the option to upgrade any of my 4 main shots or the option pods, which are in the front of my ship at the moment. And it also gives you the chance to increase the power of your secondary weapon there, which is M. So U is the options pods. These are the 4 main weapons here. So I've got 2 points to add to my weapons. So I will add 1 to my main shot, which I'm using at the moment. I'll add another one to, say, the spread shot down here, and that's done. So you can see at the moment my ship's got 2 pods in front of it. Now they act as a kind of barrier, so they will absorb different types of bullets. Some bullets are absorbable and some aren't. And if I cycle through my main weapons, it changes the behaviour of the pods. So you can see in spread shot the pods go up and below and above you. In laser bolt they rotate around you like that. And in front and reverse shot they go behind you, which is obviously useful for when you're trying to fire at stuff which is attacking you from behind. The S icon I just picked up there has now increased the level of my main shot, which I have at the moment, to 5, as you can see there at the top. So this is a mid-boss. There's a good number of bosses in this game. Mid-bosses and then main bosses. They're all nice and varied. It's one of the strengths of the game, I think, is the bosses. There's a few foibles of the game which are a little bit annoying. They're nothing to ruin it. One thing I've noticed is it is sometimes hard to differentiate between scenery parts which you can fly into and die, and scenery parts that you can fly through. And doesn't always. Often in games you can tell because your bullets will not go through parts which you can crash into. So that's often a handy way to tell in games whether a piece of scenery is dangerous or not. In this game that seems to be sometimes variable a bit, so you can't always trust on whether your bullets are going through things. You can't always trust that means that you can't hit it if you fly into it. Another one of the little foibles is when there's a power-up floating around the screen that you haven't collected before, it will go through impenetrable parts of the scenery. So again, indicating or not helpfully indicating whether that part of the scenery is dangerous or not. So you'll go and try and collect it because it's gone through a bit of scenery. You'll try and follow it where it's gone, and then you'll end up crashing into the scenery and dying. But these are all things, of course, that you'll get used to as you play more of the game and learn the levels. So this is the main boss of stage 2. You've got a nice selection of different firing, different bullet styles that he uses, different phases. Let's swap over to a different gun for the time being. So I'll leave it on spread shot. I'm on spread shot now. You can see those white bullets. So that is what the bomb looks like for spread shot. You get massive hyper spread shot. This is what the bomb looks like for laser blast. You get that green wheel effect coming out, which is good for clearing everything around you, of course. And this is the bomb for backwards and forwards shot. It just makes the bullets bigger. So that's boss for stage 2 destroyed. In terms of responsiveness and things like that, I'd say there is some input lag. Now, I'm not going to scientifically measure the input lag, so it's just my opinion, so just take this subjectively. But there is a little bit of input lag, maybe slightly more than I'd like. Of course, I mean, that's probably due to the fact it's been ported. And I do believe that the original versions of this game for Steam is more responsive. And the game runs a bit smoother as well, I'd imagine, on Steam. But as you can see, it's running pretty nice and smooth on the Dreamcast as it is. So purely in terms of gameplay, it's a very good game. Some of you may already know that the original ANDRO DUNOS, made by a company called Visco, originally came out on Neo Geo. It's an early Neo Geo game, 1990 I think. So I mean, the people that made this game have got nothing to do with the original developers of ANDRO DUNOS 1. They've just taken it as a name, and with Visco's permission of course, made a sequel, which is a nice idea. Gives it a bit more recognition, I suppose, gives it a bit more publicity, a bit more marketing clout if it's got a recognisable classic name attached to it, of course. So we've got another little mid-boss here. We've got a couple of these on this stage. They're bloody hard to kill. You don't get a lot of time before you fly past these guys. There you go. I've got to go past him now. Oh, he's died. Yeah, as I was saying, by no means an expert at this game yet, but I'm enjoying it. So, as I was saying, performance-wise, it's not 100% smooth. If you study the movement of the background, movement of game assets, especially maybe things on the ground, for instance, you get a little bit of wobbling where, see that gun turret there is kind of wobbling up and down, it's not moving completely smoothly with the background. You get little things like that in the game, so it's definitely, you know, it's definitely not a pro level AAA title. It's definitely got a kind of indie dev feel to it, which isn't a bad thing, of course, because what AAA software houses are making shmups nowadays anyway? So it's only indie devs we've got to thank. Well, there's a few, not many, but the large majority of games like this are now just being made by indie devs, aren't they? And you've got the boss for stage number 3. Ah! Let's give him the bomb. So as you noticed there, the special bombs do have the ability to cancel out some enemy bullets, which your main gun doesn't do. Ah. So I love the idea of having a new shmup on the Dreamcast, but I don't think this is the best version of the game. If you want the best performing version of the game, I think Steam's probably going to be your best bet. Then you've got the 3DS and the Switch versions after that as well. I can't vouch for how good they are, but I'd imagine Steam is kind of the best original version of the game. If you're just purely interested in having the best performing, I'd go for the Steam. This really isn't. It's really nice to have this for the Dreamcast, of course, but it's really just a kind of collector's, you know, Dreamcast fanatics kind of thing. It's not the best version of the game that you can get. This boss does tank a lot of bullets. I wouldn't say it's particularly hard, but it's definitely the toughest boss to kill in the game so far. Now we're heading for stage 4. As before, I've got the chance to upgrade some of my bullets. Now these protective pods I've got in front of my ship at the moment, I think they have a limited number of hits before they go away. So they will absorb bullets and impacts with smaller enemies, but they do wear out eventually, which is why you get the option in the game to replenish them in between stages. Time for the underwater stage. So the game does have a very chunky, pixely look on the Dreamcast, as I'm sure you can see there, reminiscent of a 16-bit shmup. Even though it's running in 480p, it looks like it's more of a 240p game, as you can see by the size of the pixels there, which is a nice thing. I think the general style of the game is great. Now these guys are rather annoying. They do eventually start coming from behind you as well. Yeah, I'm dead again. So we're running out of continues. I'll continue capturing until I'm game over. Just to show you a bit more of the game. Looks like we're at another main boss. Or maybe not yet. I'm sure we'll be encountering that underwater behemoth at some point at the end of this stage. Oh, here he is. Dang. That's your lot. Well, thanks for watching. I hope that's been slightly educational for anyone interested in the Dreamcast version of this game. And until next time, I'll see you later.